Hi guys, I'm Shmee and I am currently departing Tesla, where I have been driving the Model S P100D, as you might have seen from the previous video to this one. But it's made me ponder something that you can see from the title of this video. What is a supercar? What defines the word supercar? And I'm driving in the 675 LT, which is quite a nice car obviously to be driving back home in, and one that very definitely will count as a supercar. But there are so many different things, and this word means so many different things to different people, that I think it's quite an interesting topic for me to do this video, a fuel for thought about how to work out what's a sports car, a supercar, a hypercar, a megacar, and how all of these different things relate, and break it down into a couple of different categories. I think the first one is definitely performance. What the benchmark is to define a supercar is constantly changing. What is a quick car now was not necessarily possible not that long ago, but equally, cars like hot hatches, like let's say my Focus RS, with 375 horsepower now thanks to the mount tune package, is capable of 0 to 62 in a little over 4 seconds, which not all that long ago would have been well and truly into supercar territory, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, let's say. Top speeds, you know, cars, family estate cars can reach 200 miles an hour. Supercar speeds, supposedly. Then you have the sort of looks of a car. So I think a supercar has to look seriously dramatic. Form has to follow function, it has to be aerodynamic, it has to be aggressive, it has to be very distinctly styled. And I think that's a pretty important aspect, I suppose, to a supercar. Almost a bit of impracticality. If a car is too everyday, which is where supercars are going, then it's less exciting and it's used more often. There's less drama that comes from driving it because you're more familiar with it. And I think that changes. You also have the price, I suppose. You know, a supercar should inherently be expensive. It should be something you aspire to, something that inspires you when you look at it, and aspires you to work hard to achieve it. And that naturally comes with a hefty price tag. It also means that there are fewer of them. They aren't everywhere. Not every single person in the world has one. Exclusivity. They have to be something that isn't built in huge numbers. They have to be something that you don't see on every street corner. I think the rarity of it, and obviously this changes depending where you are. If you're a person out, let's say, lift system lowering, if you're a person out, let's say, on the streets, you're going to see way more supercars on the streets of Knightsbridge than you are in the Scottish Highlands. That's going to change the perspective slightly. So I think exclusivity is important. And you can take bump, and that is the impracticality of a supercar, because realistically you shouldn't use it all the time for every purpose. So you take all of these categories and you have to look at the whole package, and I'm going to pick a couple of cars. So any McLaren, I think, counts as a supercar. 540C, 570S, 12C, 650S, 675 LT, P1, F1, whatever it is, they're all supercars. Even the 540C, the entry-level, quote, baby supercar, as it's often referred to, is a supercar because the acceleration figures are still in the 3s. Top speed is still around 200 miles an hour. They're still very exclusive. It still has doors that go upwards. It looks crazy. It's a supercar. I think where this gets interesting is cars like R8s, let's say. First gen R8, you see everywhere now. They made loads of them. Yes, it's quick. I mean, the V8 was quick when it came out nearly 10 years ago. 0 to 60, and that was 4.8 maybe. Excuse me if I'm slightly wrong, but that's sort of ballpark. And you know, like I said, the Focus RS is faster than that. The Golf R is faster. The RS3 is faster. The A45 is faster. The Golf R might need some tuning to get faster. But those sort of numbers, the game's moved on. It's changing. It's a massively varying world that you have to adapt the definition as time goes by. Nissan GTR, no question the performance of the GTR is incredible. It is so fast, hence my phrase, I always call it the supercar killer. Godzilla, people love it. It's affordable relatively for the performance you get, but I don't consider it a supercar because to me it still looks like a bigger car. It doesn't look like, it doesn't have the drama that I'd like out of a supercar. It doesn't have necessarily the exclusivity because there are lots of them, and it doesn't have the price tag of being something that is that sort of distant, oh, that was an interesting move, somebody just pushed right in front of me, that distant, hard to reach objective. So To me, it's just not quite up there. The FF, I think, is an interesting one. The FF is obviously, it's a Ferrari with a V12, so it should be a supercar, but then it's pretty practical with the 4 seats and the luggage space, so I don't know if it counts. Rolls-Royces, Bentleys, loads of luxuriousness, and could well fit in on a supercar event in a rally, let's say, on the grid of Gumball. But again, same kind of thing, because they can be quick, but they're not dramatic, they're not supercars. Aston Martins, where do they fit? Where does the GT8 fit? The price tag is over 200k. The looks, the drama, the sound, the excitement of it, the rarity, but it's not very fast. It's mid-4s to 62, and the top speed, I think, is in the 180s. So it's not supercar performance. It's such a difficult scale. Like I said, I think to some people the GT8 is instant supercar, but I think to others it's a sports car because it's not quick enough. The GTR is to many people instant supercar, but to others it's not. It's too common, so it's not rare enough. This car is clearly a supercar because it's very noisy at motorway speeds, it's very impractical, it's very bumpy, and it is built to go very, very fast around the track at the detriment to other things, and built in limited numbers, 500 of them, 500 coupes, and it costs an awful lot of money. It's worth, let's say, £400,000 or so. So it's an interesting question because there is no answer to it. You have this barrier from sports cars, you know, something like a boxed off sports car, something like, in my opinion, the R8 sports car, the Vantage sports car, supercars, 488, 675 LT, Hurricane. Hurricane is like the borderline. That, to me, is just in there along with the sports series, the 540C and the 570S. And then you go the other way, what's the top of supercar and where does hypercar begin? Because hypercars of yesteryear, Enzo, Carrera GT, were supercars at the time. The word hypercar didn't necessarily exist at that point. Now we use hypercar to refer to Huayra, P1, Agera R, LaFerrari, 918. But we've also got megacar, the cars that have a kilowatt of power, like the Koenigsegg Regera, breaking into this new sort of stratospheric area of numbers, 1500 horsepower, 1600 horsepower, 1700 horsepower. It's potentially all getting a little bit insane. It's potentially all getting a little bit insane, the amount of power these cars have. Look at the next generation. McLaren 720S, over 700, it's becoming normal. The 488 Speciale, the 488 has 670. You can bet the Speciale, when it comes, is going to be over 700. The amount of power coming is ridiculous. However, on the flip side, all of these cars are becoming so much more usable. What was once upon a time, you know, if you bought a flagship V12 Ferrari, it wasn't a car you wanted to take out and drive all the time, but now you can. You can take them and use them and just take it to the shops and do whatever you want. So it's a completely different game to what was before in terms of how you can use these cars. So I think it's quite an interesting position, and probably you disagree big time with some of the things I've said, and you might agree with others, but it does change, and what we think of now as a supercar in terms of performance will probably be completely different in the future. You know, what this car can do, 0 to 62 miles an hour in 2.9 seconds, when will a hatchback be able to do that? It's not going to be forever. In 10 years time, 20 years time, your sort of performance version of the run-of-the-mill hatchback car is probably going to be able to carry out a figure kind of like that. So we have to adapt and change, and I suppose because of my exposure to supercars and how much time I spend around these kind of cars, things like the Tesla, just I have a probably different view on it than most other people because I'm familiar with performance all the time. And therefore, to me, it's more about exclusivity and almost in a way emotion. And emotion as a connection is something that would be really, really hard to explain, and that's where the GT8 comes in, really. It's not about performance numbers and how fast it is. It's about how exciting it is, what smiles it puts on people's faces, and, you know, the rarity value, and just how special it is as a whole package. I think the supercar has to be a whole package. That's where I'm going to leave this. What is a supercar? It is something that has performance, has rarity, has exclusivity, has a bit of impracticality, and is something that as an overall item, individually worked out, comes together into something that really is special. I think a supercar needs to be special. So, sorry for waffling on, but I thought it was quite interesting after driving the Tesla and what ludicrous plus mode was capable of in that car, because my word, it is fast, as you've probably seen in the video. And it sort of recalibrated a little bit, again, what I'm thinking about when I'm driving cars, because this isn't as quick off the line as a Tesla. It's not even close. Even a 918 would struggle to keep up. And that is perhaps the most ridiculous thing about it all. Anyway, sorry for talking so much. Fuel for thought while I'm driving back home from my drive in the Model S P100D. So I've got a couple of cool things coming up actually as well. So stay tuned, watch this space. I think you're going to enjoy some of the videos over the next couple of weeks as the road trip season starts in the not too distant future. That's it for now though. Thank you very much as always guys for watching. I'll catch up with you again very soon. Cheers!